All right. Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to your daily lighting critique. We have a ton of stuff to go through today. I want to start off by answering a couple questions that people had and just making some general statements. And then we're going to go into, we have two animated shots, and then we're going to go through the stills. We'll start, as always, with the people who are available to attend live, and then we will go through the rest. So, first thing was Diana talked about. I meant to pull up Maya for this. We'll come back to this in just a second. So she asked about attaching a light to a light source like a flashlight, and I'll show you guys how to do that. Another question was, how do you recommend we categorize and present our time at the Academy of Animated Art on our resume? Some people do education, some people do it's like an experience. I wouldn't necessarily call it an apprenticeship, but I think calling it experience is fair. What I've been learning about resumes and resume writing and applying for jobs is it's all about telling a story about yourself and filling in gaps. And so my response to that was basically, if you have a lot of education but not a lot of experience, I would frame it more as an experience. If you have a lot of experience but like you're transitioning to a new thing, I would frame it as education. I would use it because we kind of do different things here. And we're not a traditional like accredited school where you take a bunch of classes. So it's not like really it's not like really a school, but it's also not, yeah. And so we treat it like production where you get shots and we have dailies and all that. So it's somewhere in the middle. So the thing with resumes, cover letters, all that stuff, it's all about marketing your personal brand, about who you are and what you want companies to think of you. And so if that's about, like, so you take your experiences and you kind of form them in one way. And there was a tweet recently about like, hey, somebody just, how would I put screwing in a light bulb on my resume? And it was like single-handedly operated a mechanical engineering, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, you can word it and you can phrase things in certain ways to make it sound the way that you want them to. And so with your experience at AA, I would use it, because it can be so many things. I would use it to help fill in gaps in your resume to make more sense, and B, frame it in a way that helps align you with the way you want companies to think about you for your next job. It's a little bit vague, but that's kind of how I would do that. One thing that came up this weekend, I wanted to draw attention to you guys. We had a user, somebody who was a student, who had like 5 different user names in Discord somehow. So I've noticed that a couple times, like a couple people have like, it's like if they've logged in from their mobile device and their computer, it kind of shows up as like 2 different users. If you guys are running into that and you're having problems accessing the student channels, let me know and we can delete one and make sure that that's all good. This was something else I meant to bring up. I mentioned this from time to time, but one of the best things about working pre-COVID, other than there wasn't a pandemic, was that there was not remote work. Like when I was working at Blue Sky, we had, on the very last show, Spies in Disguise, that we worked on, we had a little bit of remote work. But before then, you left the office. You didn't get email, you didn't see your work, nothing. And it allowed you the opportunity to rest your eyes, to get away from the work, especially on the weekends. Even if you were working 6 days a week, you had Sunday to kind of like just step away from your work. And you come back a day later and you would be amazed at how having rested, refreshed eyes can allow you to look at your work differently. So if you find yourself grinding at your shot every day, day after day, and you're getting frustrated and it's hard, I highly recommend setting it aside, not even looking at it for at least 24 to 48 hours, and then coming back to it, and you'd be amazed what a fresh sense can do. Additionally, resting your eyes goes over the course of the day. So if you're just like staring at your monitor I tried to give myself a break from my monitor about once an hour at least, for like 5 minutes, where I walk away, I look out the window, I look at things far away, because like this, if you're just looking at something 2 feet away from your face all day, it messes with your brain and it messes with your eyes. So step away from your screen, like, and literally just look at stuff far away. Maybe talk to a person would be cool if you have people around. That's always a good thing too. Yeah, and then, or like take a walk outside. It's just like, and I'm not saying this to be like, oh, it's good for your mental well-being, which it is. It makes you a better artist because you have to get away. You have to like you have to step aside and allow your stuff to rest up. Okay, let's see if Maya loaded. I think it did. Okay, so let's talk about like if you're parenting a light to something like a flashlight. So let's just go ahead and make a ghetto flashlight here real quick. Some divisions heights, we'll call it 5. Okay. I've been having this weird bug on my machine where like the R key no longer scales things. I have to like actually go up. I have no idea why. I just kind of randomly stopped doing that one day. Yeah.
And Blender does that to me with the shortcut keys sometimes. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. I'm like, can you pick one?
Like W works fine, E works fine. I hit R, it does nothing. Anyway, okay. So let's say you have
I have that on the save shortcut also sometimes.
I blame Maya, man.
Yeah.
My computer's lovely. It's Maya for sure. Definitely not my graphics card, thank God. Hopefully. Because we were just talking about how that would make an impossible thing. Okay, so let's say you have a flashlight. Why is it not extruding again? Boom, boom. Okay, you have a flashlight. Let's go ahead and just delete these faces. And you want to stick a little light source in there. The way that I would do it, you create your light. You've got your spotlight. You want to position that where you want it to go. Let's go and start pulling it around this way. Let's say it's negative 90. Like you want to locally, just by having the light itself selected, you want to have that, like, let's say that's where we want it positioned inside of there. The easiest way to do it, honestly, is just to take these two objects and group them. You can just say edit group or Control G. And now when you have these, you know, if you select either of them, like you select this, you can just hit up. I don't know if you can see that. So like you have the light selected, you can see it here in the outliner, and you just hit up. It goes up to that group level, and then you can like animate this to look around, and as it looks around, the flashlight will follow with it. Now let's say, let me take this out of, just Control Z out of this as a group. One thing that can happen is, let's say you have both of these and they're like, you know, in a character's hand and they're up away from them here, and you select them both and you say, okay, Control G to group them. You'll notice that this pivot point jumps to the origin of the world, and that might not always be what you want. What you can do is you can go up to, is it edit and center or modify, and then you say center pivot, and it centers your pivot on the object itself. Now, like for a flashlight, we may want to put the pivot point back behind it. You can actually adjust your pivot point by hitting the insert key, and this will allow you to move that without actually adjusting anything. Now we can like have it look around, we can have it go up and down, and they'll always stick together. So this can be the headlight to a car. It could be you're walking off the cell phone. It could be an area light attached to the phone itself. So that's kind of how you would do that. Any questions about that? Hope that cleared that up. Okay, cool. So
actually, if it was a somebody carrying the light, would you rig it together with the person so that it like, as if like, oh, that's an extra finger or something?
So it's like if really it's just attached to the hand because it's a rigid body thing. I'm trying to think of a time when it would be more flexible than that. But yeah, I mean, yes, it can work with the rig. And like in production now, most companies do there's shot lighting, and you know, where you get the scene and everything and the materials and everything are there. More and more companies are doing like lighting phase and during asset builds. So as a lighting artist, you can work when they're building assets. Like imagine they're building a UFO, and the UFO, you're gonna see it flying around the sky, and it has all these like animated lights on it. The lighter will get in prior to the shot lighting and actually set up a rig in the model that would be for all those lights be bopping around. And then you can like help create a little tool that will animate it and that kind of stuff. So, so that can come in a little bit earlier. And then, and then you'll work with a rigging artist to implement that light into the rig itself, or an animator or the modeler, whatever the case may be.
Okay.
Because I remember on the film that never got released at Blue Sky, we had a thing where I was doing all of the I did a lot of the vehicle lights for Spies in Disguise, and so they asked me to sit on this meeting where they were doing vehicles for this next one, and I just asked a question because they showed all these like really stylized, super cool designs for cars, and I was like, yeah, so which one is like the brake light? And they were like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, can you just because like each light needs to do a different thing. Like when they're turning, we want to put on turn signals. When they're backing up, we want a reverse light. When they're stopping, do you want a second light to come on, or do you want the light just to get brighter when they're braking? And they're like, ooh, we didn't think about the functions of these lights at all. And I was like, it's not a big deal. We just need to know what's what. So that comes up from time to time too. Okay. So let's get into some animation stuff. Forrest is not here. Well, you know what? But this is pretty quick. We'll take a look at Forrest real quick. Actually, let me turn the sound on so we can listen to it in all its glory.
Use my wings. You want to fly, you got to believe. But you got to learn to use your wings. Use my wings. You know how ridiculous you sound right now? You want to fly, you got to believe. But you got to learn to use your wings. Use my wings. You know how ridiculous you sound right now?
I think this looks good. The only thing I'm kind of wondering is when the bird pulls his wings out like this, just because this is kind of a performance thing, I'm wondering if we shouldn't make the wings a little bit brighter, just like as he lifts them up, just because it's like, look at these stupid things or whatever, they're a little dingy, and Forrest maybe just adding a pass where you lift up those feathers a little bit just so they're a little bit brighter. Sorry I didn't see that before. I know you spent a long time rendering this. Hopefully we can just do that as a separate pass. But I like the sheen that the feathers are getting in like out here. It's a little strong, but I think it's really cool. I think it's really fun. Yeah, and maybe darkening his eyebrows too a little bit. Could be a crypto thing. Just pulling those down a little bit more. And then still the tongue is saturated. Pull that back a little bit. All right. So there's Forrest. Now let's take a look at cats real quick. So we've got this super action-packed scene. This is a part of it. And then we have this reference from The Incredibles. A couple different scenes here.
Yeah, I was just going for the lighting. There's not really a fight scene in a warehouse in The Incredibles that I could see, so I did notice when I watched the show again, though, that they would have a lot of rim light, even if the character was fully lit. So that's kind of what I'm going for, is that kind of vibe with it.
Yeah, because that happens a lot in action sequences, because you have to read the silhouette of the movie a lot, so you throw a lot of rim light on there. All right, let's just play this real quick. Okay, so when I was looking at this, the one major positive is that the characters are reading off of a darker background, and that's really helpful. The one thing about super action sequences like this is you like, it sounds silly, but the more complex the shot is, the simpler the lighting rig needs to be, because what's happening is there's some points here where we're starting to break. Like the lighting is starting to break a little bit. Like I see that there's an orange light coming in here, but it's like super bright on him. And then we're not really seeing it around him. And it's like, if you look at his face, like he's getting lit pretty much exclusively from this side with a little bit less rim. But you look down here, the shadow's going this way. There's nothing to indicate that shadow's coming across in there. And in reality, I'm wondering if in this shot, just in like this one section, I don't know, you can talk to the animator about this, but it may be more important that we see the police officer badge than we see the characters themselves. So it might be a matter of like putting him more in a stronger rim and allowing his core area to be darker, and then allowing like light to just hit the police officer badge. depending on whatever the story is at that point. But the other thing that happens too is as he's coming across here, like he's getting very, very bright, which happens a lot in these things. It's like just like
yeah, I know.
But at the same time, she like their lighting is like he's getting a lot on his back here, and then she's not getting as much on this side. So really, it just kind of feels like she's getting lit. It's just like it's just like they might be getting their own lights, and so I would even. I would definitely avoid.
Basically,
okay.
I was saying, so kind of what I did was I first set up just like big spotlights to light kind of the warehouse, and then I was like, okay, I need rim lights, so I started placing rim lights to brighten up the darker areas.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I've set it up a little bit. That's kind of maybe like that bright light. It's a spotlight coming down.
Yeah. So that's a good test. But the thing is, with action sequences, rim lights become not rim lights very quickly when they move. So I would say your head's in the right place for the long term, but for right now, remove the idea of worrying about the rim lights right now, and do absolutely zero light linking, because it's only going to cause because like we just don't know how it's going to play out yet. So I would remove all light linking and just worry about. I would even. When I approach stuff like this, I would even not even care about the character lighting at first. Light the environment and allow the characters to move through it as they naturally would, and then we'll see how it works, and then we can adjust their lighting a little bit more and more. But it's really, really important for a shot like this that they move kind of like fluidly and seamlessly through the space, and like get lighter and darker where it feels natural, get shadows where it feels natural. They'll look bad at first, but in complex shots, it looks bad for for a good chunk of the time that you're lighting it, and then it kind of comes together at the end. But if you're trying to, because again, it's about building the structure. Like it's when you're like drawing stuff, you draw the big shapes first, and then you get the details. You don't want to do the details first because then it gets all messed up. So our big shapes for this is lighting the environment and like having them move through that space in a way that makes sense, and then we'll go from there. So don't like this is not this shot is not one that you finish in a week. In a film kind of thing, this would be something you would spend a good chunk of time on. So it's like don't beat yourself, and that's like with a render farm. That's like with a lot of stuff. So don't be in a hurry to finish this one, just because it's hard. It's inherently hard.
Okay.
Cool. All right, let's hop over into the stills. All right, so we answered some questions there. Let's let us go through Abishek. Let's see, we've got Mindy, Brenda, Ashley, Tristan, Ruby, Kat, Dani, Andre. All right, let's go through Andre. You were here. So, good adjustment on the character reflection. I'm wondering, I guess it's just behind him. It almost looks like there's like a dark line around his nose. I'm not quite sure if that's true or if that's just an optical illusion. Just double check there's like not some weird matte line there. And let's do a pass, because this is getting really close, but let's do a pass where we take down his fill light a little bit on this side.
Okay.
Just a little bit on the inside, because I want to see if that, because I think that might play up pretty well, because it's like he's getting good shaping and everything's hitting really well. But I think that would work. And maybe a little bit on her. Her hair looks a lot better too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be just about it with this one. But this is looking good. Does anybody else have any thoughts on this? Yeah. Yeah, it's coming together really well.
Cool.
Thanks. Brenda, you're here? Yes. Brenda, this looks great. I don't really have any notes for this one. Yeah.
Nice, finally.
Yeah, no, finally. No, you're good. This is these things, just like I said, they take a little time. I can be picky sometimes. Sorry, everybody.
No, it's perfect. I've never liked
I
besides
I hate this. Yeah. No, when I was learning lighting, I had
So
a,
it was
I had a
weird for me.
mentor. Oh, I'm sorry, Brenda, I interrupted you. Please go ahead.
I don't know if my internet is actually working because I feel like my voice is not going through. I don't know.
No,
Well,
you're good.
I'm
I got
gonna
it. It's just like a little bit delayed. So I'm gonna shut up. I'll let you say your things.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I don't know. No, sorry. No, that I've never before this had composite anything that I didn't render. So it was like weird for me to even know what was I doing. But yeah, it was interesting. I learned a lot.
Good. Yeah, that's definitely an unforeseen challenge of this one that I didn't anticipate. We were like, oh, we'll just give them the images. This will make it so much easier for them to learn. Nope. Making your own images is better. But it's a good challenge because you have to do this sometimes. Like I had to composite other people's shots, and it's like, and it's kind of like you learn a lot. Like you learn about like, oh wow, you did it this way. That's really cool. But I was also going to say, in terms of my nitpickiness, sometimes I had the woman I learned lighting from when I was in grad school. Her name is Bridget Gaynor, and she's incredible. But she was so hard on me. She never said anything was good. Like it was always like, this could be better, this could be better, this could be better, this could be better. And I would get like, I'd be like, come on, man. Like I would get like, I'd be hard on myself. I would get frustrated with her, but like she'd be like, Mike, the saturation can come down on this. And I remember and I was like, she is wrong. That's not true. And then I went back to my desk and I pulled the saturation down. I was like, every time that looks better. And so like, I try and bring her energy whenever I do this. So it's like,
but
it's a very
I think,
positive thing, but it's also like, because you guys are going to bring these into demo reels and people are going to not have this opportunity to say them. They're going to say them and you won't be around to, so
yeah. No, I think it's really important to be picky.
Yeah.
I remember when I was starting doing retouching work, and the first job that I did was I had the boss. You know, I did the retouching, and the boss went and literally he said like, I think this could be 1% less magenta, and I'm like, what? It's like he's just saying that to change something because it's like, you know, nobody sees 1% less magenta. And then by the end of the 2 months that I was freelancing there, I was seeing the difference and I was doing it right away, you know, without him asking. So that's, you know, it's good to educate us.
Yeah. No, and it's like and just again being in the industry for the first time, I was blown away by the attention to detail, and you don't think it's gonna matter, and then you see the final product and you're like, oh, that matters in every shot. Like it makes it so much better. Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Great. Yeah, this is great. I would call this one done, and good job dealing with our broken renders. Good job. Yay. All right. Dani. Actually, let me close Andre's here so I don't want to like overlook anyone afterwards. Okay. So Dani, first stab at this one, right? I know. I think maybe you did another iteration. But either way. Yeah. The thing, the eye is throwing me off, and the robot. It's big. It's interesting. It's just like it's not like, this is the reason why every animal in animated movies have human eyes, because animals, like only humans have the circle and the pupil and like a cat doesn't really have this. Dogs don't have this. It's just because like when you look at an eye that's not really human, it feels very devoid of emotion and connection. So, it's really just because it's like all sclera and pupil. And so it actually isn't that, but that's just how it reads as an audience member, right? Like it reads like an eye. Anyway, so I would adjust that first. And yes, you definitely have had other iterations of this. Okay. I think that we've got too much light coming from the inside on the character here. The outside light still feels a little dusty on the top of his head, and I would like to see it be a little bit more rim light. What's that?
Here's the question. I made the indoor really bright on purpose.
Okay.
So we had a problem with the spec. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the spec on the bottom from the indoor light compared to the one on the top, do you think it's a shader issue? Or is it just a lighting issue?
I'm not really seeing spec anywhere. Yeah, so it might be a shader issue. I think yeah. There's something about the roughness map. It might be going a little crazy. But yeah, because I'm not really seeing any like it's like I can't really see a solid specular highlight on the robot yet. Yeah, so I would take a look at the shader and see what's going on there.
Yeah.
Like you can see it, like because like on the little glass bulb on top here, you see like a nice little one here and a nice one over there. So yeah, so I would maybe work that in a little bit. So yeah, so work on that because that'll give us a little more of a tighter rim. Got this light here. She's looking good. Her structure is feeling pretty good. Yeah, I think the biggest thing for now is that, and then this light over here is, it's too strong. Like the key light is it's like very bright in some of these areas, and also creating very harsh shadows here and here, and making like this is like a very graphic, almost like rectangle, right in there. So I would take down the contrast and soften the look of that overall a little bit on that backside.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, let's see. Oh, Kat, this is your reference. We saw that. Let me take. All right, Jordan, Mindy, you are here, right? I saw Mindy. Hello, Mindy.
Hello.
Hello. All right, this helps a lot. Adding this variation, I think, made a big difference.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually think that the stairs in the previous, I think the stairs here could go a little bit darker like that. I think by lifting, like it's something about like something like things that are darker closer to the ground, it kind of grounds the image, like it makes it more stable. So I think darkening this set of stairs a little bit would be good. Yeah. And then in terms, I would do in terms of the rest of the image, I think it's looking pretty good. I think when you go to render this out, the character is looking a little bit low res, and I see that this is 1280 by 720, which is a decent resolution. I would render it big, like
Just the character or for everything?
I would probably do, if as long as the render times aren't too devastating, I would do all of it.
Okay.
Just because like there's something about it. It feels like a little extra soft, a little extra low res, and I think that might be because of the glow that we're adding to it, which is fine. It should be there, but I think that we need to go a little bigger in the resolution so that that glow doesn't quite diffuse out some of the areas. Like I'm looking specifically like around her eyes. It feels a little soft, and then just like it's just not as super crisp as we would want. And like, as you know, and the reason why I pulled this out before was doing this obviously tightens up the blurriness so you don't see it as much, and like it just feels a little bit better compositionally when it's like this. You kind of lose some of that a little bit, but I think it's really good. Okay, I'll stop messing with it. Does anyone have any thoughts for Mindy? I'm wondering, this is an interesting thing, and I have to look at reference on this. It just feels like there's a little bit of a harsh line between her hairline and the top of her head, just because like her forehead is very, very bright right in here, and then when you get to her hair, it just like abruptly stops. So I'm wondering if we couldn't just darken, like with a gobo or something, or a light blocker or something, just like put a little bit of this in the shadow so that feels a little bit more like a seamless transition. Because I'm not convinced that that's not what would happen on darker hair like that. But I do think that in a CG image, it feels, like something about it doesn't feel right. I don't know.
I did make the key of that not shining on her hair because it was creating some weird shadows on her face.
Oh, okay,
So
yes.
that might be why.
So let's just like take that little bit of key there, so it blends, because that means it's like the hair is shadowed right there. So let's just merge those together.
Okay. The other thing, just really quick, some of the flowers are a little extra shiny on the one like right behind her underneath the banister.
That one?
It almost looks metallic.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one kind of lower on the ground isn't so bad, but the one behind or underneath the banister is a little shiny.
Yeah.
But that's it. Other than that, I think the plants look really good compared to how they looked a couple iterations ago. I think they look a lot better.
Yeah, this is really this is a tricky shot. Like there's a lot of detail, a lot of small things to take care of in this, and I think you've got it. I think you've got it looking really great.
Cool.
All right, cool. All right. Head and let's see. Ruby, you are here. Hello, Ruby. All right. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so I think. Yeah, this is. I like the lighting a lot more on the character. I think this worked out really well. You've hit this, and you also hit it with a softness to that light that allows it to be secondary, which is great because like our primary focus should be, kind of in here. And then it's like, as your eye kind of goes around the image, you see that you just know that there's a book there without like being totally aware that there's super bright light on his chest, which is really nice. I think we can I would push the rim a little stronger on this side, and I would bring, I just want to feel a little bit. I want to increase the brightness on the right and bring down the value on the left. I just want to increase the effect that we already have going on. Like, so making this a little bit brighter. And I would even do a little bit more of like a traditional rim light where it kind of hits the edge of him right around here.
Like around the whole head.
Like really pick up his nice round head with that.
Okay.
And I think that will, this value looks good. Like Dani, this was kind of what I was thinking with the specularity. Like it's a little bit tighter here. And this is looking, like you can see like small shapes within it. Like this might be a little dusty there, but like these like even in the shadow areas, there's just like little kind of tight pockets of specularity in there. I would also, just because the light color on her, I would desaturate this just a touch. Oh, that's not right. Just because the light that's coming on her is a little less neutral, or a little more neutral, I should say. And just kind of match into that a little bit. So there's like a little bit of less of that yellow coming out. And then I think the next step will be, it might be getting some like translucency on this curtain in here from this, just a little bit. I don't know. What do you guys think for next steps for this one? Anybody have any ideas? Because I think we can still keep pushing it. I'm just wondering. I heard someone chime in. The other thing.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at it. Maybe, I don't know. I know it's supposed to be a nighttime shot. I don't know, maybe a little bit more light that kind of gives off the night vibe. Because it looks good, but it's just, I don't know. It seems like there should be something more from that.
You know what it is?
I feel like the background is maybe too something or other. I don't know.
Well, I think what the thing is that the lighting on her feels more like daytime than it does nighttime because of the look of it. It might be a matter of, I think we can get away with tone. Yeah. Okay. Let's do this. Let's try this for the next iteration. Let's tone down this light on her front for her because it is starting to get a little strong, and let's play up a little bit more of the blue in her fill areas. So I would say take down the key 20%, and then try and get a little bit of this blue hue into her fill side a little bit. Let's kind of tie that in.
Okay.
Sound good?
Perfect.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Just thinking, looking at this scene. because like normally the light coming from inside the house is the warm one, and the one coming from outside the house, the moon or whatever, is the blue one. And it's the opposite there. So I was wondering if that is, I don't know, if it would make a difference to
I think
have it together.
no, because like we see the light source here, right? So there's not really any way of getting around its position.
Okay, yeah.
So I think that's kind of the way it's got to be for this one.
I think that's, since Andre was mentioning that, I think that's what's kind of throwing me off, because on the background, like where the bookcase is, that light level feels the same as what's coming in like from the window. So it's like it's kind of hard to tell if that bookshelf or whatever is in the house or outside of the house.
Got it. Yeah, maybe it's
See what I mean?
turn this down a little bit. Like I was thinking of it more like there was a window back here, bringing a little light back there. Okay, so let's maybe tone this down.
Yeah, I think that's what it's supposed to be. It just looks like it's too much of the same level, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so let's take that down just a little bit, like 20.
Okay,
1%
that corner.
magenta.
Okay. I also turned down the window. Well, the HDR.
Yeah. The HRX.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So should I bring that back up again?
No, I think it
then?
looks good. I think it feels
Okay.
good. I think it's a nice level that indicates that there's something outside that window without like drawing our attention too much out there.
All right. Okay. So I just turned the corner.
It's just the influence of the light here on the inside. All right.
Thank you.
Not a problem. All right. Tristan, you are up next. All right, Tristan, we've got a couple. Yeah, we've got a couple. We'll start with this one here. Yeah. So the previous version, and then updated. So I think this looks better. I was thinking of pushing it a little bit stronger, but I think this is pretty good on the front side. I think we should call this one done. I think that's good. Congratulations. More so because I'm very excited about your other project. I think that's looking really spectacular too, and I want you to focus on that one because I think that one could be really special. So I think this is. I think yeah. So let's take a look at your reference a little bit. This is from Toy Story 3, I think. The third one? Yeah. And then just kind of daycare settings. And we've got 3 images from your first pass at this. And I think that overall colors are great. I think that the feel is really strong. This is a little bit more saturated than what we were seeing in the Toy Story stuff. Like this feels a little bit pulled back. It's a personal preference. I think there's a little bit of wiggle room for you to pull back a little bit of the saturation on some of the stuff, but it's more about the audience than it is the scene. Like for a kids show, if the audience was like a young kid, you pump up the saturation a little bit. Apparently, because kids like saturation. I don't know. I've never tried that with my children. We'll see if they like that sometimes. But I think it's more about the audience level. But the thing that I'm really excited about is like the shaping, the key to fill ratio. It's all soft. It's all like very friendly and approachable and lovable, and it's all really, really good stuff. Her skin tone feels really on point. It's warm without being overly saturated. Really, the only like it's just a couple like the pillow. Maybe pull back the saturation on the pillow a little bit, and then like the yellow on the star here. These guys look good. Like, and then maybe like a little bit on that red shape there.
Okay.
But everything else is feeling pretty good. Let's see.
When you're talking about the pillow, are you referring to the darker ones or the light ones?
The orange ones. Aren't they all the same? Like,
yeah.
Like I think it's because like this feels good here, but I guess they're darker. Like this one and this one feel more saturated. But I like the saturation. Like if you just look at like this pillow to that feels really good.
Okay.
Also this very bright red ball back here. Take that down. But overall, like that's again nitpicky stuff. I think overall the softness is feeling really good. The one thing you just have to watch out for her when she leans up into this pose, her face gets a little bright coming up this way. Her shadow value feels really good. Some of these shadows in here are getting a little dark.
Yeah.
So just like this, it's not gonna. I mean, this is a JPEG or a PNG or whatever, so this won't have like a robust pixel depth. But when I see stuff like that, I always wrong way. Like I'll always look at this, and like if you start to see stuff like that in Nuke, if you're adjusting it, it's not good because it means it's too dark and there's no pixel depth there at all, and you're never going to be able to get value out of there. So. Just something to be aware of. But and then there's like a super amount of noise on her shirt too, for some reason.
Yeah.
Quite sure what that is.
So the thing is, it's supposed to be made out of velvet, so there's a lot of reflection going on.
Oh, okay.
And the samples aren't that high right now, so.
Oh, okay.
The same thing with our jeans or our overalls. I mean,
what's that?
They're kind of shiny right now.
Yeah.
I'm saying that it's the same problem with the overalls right now.
Yeah. The only thing that I would say is that there is more opportunity to get a little bit more shaping in some of this stuff with the window clearly coming in from this side, right? Areas like this arm of this chair, being like behind this pillow, you would get the feeling that there'd be more shadow casting this way. This side of this table, you'd get the feeling there would be more light hitting this, and then it would be a little bit darker on that side. But yeah, like that's, I mean, pretty much it. And then just double check. Again, this was something similar to what we saw earlier. Like, it just looks like there's a row of black pixels around the edge of these toys up here.
Yeah, actually, I did a roto paint because the table was a little bit lighter on the left side, and I just toned it down because I thought it was too strong. The light was too strong, so I did a roto paint all over the toys and the table. So that's why.
Okay.
But I'll just work more on that.
Yeah, and then like overall, like we've got light coming in this way. I just like it does go brighter to darker as we go across this way. I just think that like from here to here it looks good, but then from like here to here, I think we can go a little bit darker on that screen right side. Like keep that continuation of the darkening over there.
Okay.
But I mean but your color space is great. If I was the animator that worked on this, I would be so pumped. I would be so excited. Because this looks great. Like this because I mean we've seen like if you want look in the information section. Actually, let me just pull it up here real quick. Like if I had the last time I saw this, where'd it go? Was, you know. What is your favorite song? If I gave somebody this and that came out of it, and then I got this in return, like that's really good. So.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go through the other submissions for today. All right, Abishek. So we've got two lighting setups here, one interior, one exterior. We've got some reference for each. We got a lot of Toy Story going on today. I think this is Toy Story, right? No. What movie is this? Does anyone know?
Isn't it Boss Baby?
It is Boss Baby. I got thrown off by the T-Rex. I thought that was Rex. Man. Yes. Okay. Never mind. I'm sorry. You're right. So the biggest thing with this stuff is that I'm seeing, like looking at this interior space, specifically this one, there's just so much like color and light kind of bouncing around these fill areas, again, in a children's room. Here we're getting a lot more darkness back over in here and not getting any of that color bouncing around. it sounds silly, but looking at nothing, like looking at blackness outside that window really, really plays a large role in how we perceive this image versus like something brighter outside the window. So even when we're just starting, I don't like to light things over black. Put something back there to push some more value in. It'll help. It'll make things like the darkness of the back of this book really stand out. Where like if you're lighting it over black, it may not look like it's any big deal. But I would say like you've clearly got some good shaping coming in from the outside. You've got that position going up really well. Your key is going to be bounce lights and some secondary light sources coming around in this interior space to kind of fill in these areas and really, really look at their color, really look at their level, and that'll help you determine what's going on in that space a little bit more. It's like it would be more about like putting in an area light right here, and allowing that to bounce up into the space a little bit and just create, because again, like depending on the setup, the next time you're in a room with a lot of hardwood and it's a bright sunny day, just like really pay attention to how much secondary light bounces up from that hardwood onto the walls. You'd be amazed at what can transpire there. So now we've got this coming in from the outside. Now from this angle, I would not use the same light position, because what looks really good as a rim light here, if it is the same here, is now flattening them out. I would push it either to the screen left or screen right side, depending on what you think. In my head, initially, I want to push the key light more around this way, so it lights up like this side of them and allows that to go into some more darkness. It's also like the flowers are looking a little bit flatter as a result, and that'll help that. Same thing with the shutters. Same note on the interior of the space. It would be the same setup. We just need more bounce light in there to kind of really fill that in with a warm, glowy happiness. The bricks on the wall feel very low res. Also maybe a little bit big in scale too. Like the size of this brick compared to her head would be very massive. So I think taking down the scale of that will help. And then also you'll want to look into the displacement / bump or normals of that to get a little bit of a better read of that a little bit. In the end, same thing with the shutter here. Like this stuff just feels a little bit low res as well. So just take a look into that and see if you can't. Because like even like this would even be, if like the supplied texture isn't enough, it would be better just if this was like a solid color than like a low res image kind of a thing. Yeah, I would say, and then that would be a good start from there. So again, just reposition the key light and really on both these shots focusing on the bounce in the interior. Ashley, yes.
I was gonna say about his first shot. I think you can zoom in with the camera because like the right side screen is almost totally empty.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like everything from here over is nothing but a creepy picture of a girl on the wall. It's like a Annabelle, or there's some horror movie that looks like that character. I shouldn't say anything. I approved all. Like I did help design this, so if I'm only teasing myself. But, yeah. In this lighting, it does, like she looks terrifying. So yeah, that's a really good point, Danny. Thank you. All right. Oh, and this was one more his reference from the outside. So again, you can see this fill level on the inside. Like even just simplifying the shades a little bit, looking at. Even the shaping on him, it's pretty much isolated to this side, and this kind of goes in the fill with what we were seeing here, which is a little bit more frontal, especially on this character. It's like pretty uniform, his lighting going across in there. So yeah, really pay attention to these fill values and make sure that they're a little more colorful and a little more pumped up. Ashley, yeah. I think this is great. Does anyone have any thoughts? Yay! All right, good job. Well done. All right, Ayako. Reference, again, beautiful. I love it. It looks so cool. Your improvements are really good on this. I love that we now have some more specularity in the street. Biggest thing is you're going to want to break up that specularity with a little bit of like a roughness map, right? Or something, because like looking at this here, this feels like the reflection you'd get off if the street was very icy or like very wet, like a puddle. And what we want is for this to feel like it's being broken up by these bricks, right? And the bricks would have like moisture, but it wouldn't be consistent. There would be like little pockets here and there. It would be very broken up. So I think breaking up the map on that would be really good. Love what you're getting out of this window here. It's so dynamic. It looks like there's a life inside of that house, which we'll never see, but that's really good. But the other area of improvement is, besides the specularity, is I think there's more opportunity. And oh, by the way, you're doing a much better job of getting the blues to oranges down here. But I do think, like looking at overall, this image has more brights. Like, let's see if this works. Like looking at this levels versus this, everything's more shifted towards the darks. And I'm not saying it has to be at the exact same thing, but like you can push the overall bit a little bit more, a little bit brighter. And then I think that this orange area, let's see if this will do it right. I think that this can go a little bit brighter too, and like fill in a little bit, like, so it's more like, this is kind of the star of our show. I'm pointing with my hand like a doofus. This is more the star of our show. I can't believe I just did that. In here versus, yeah, like versus anything that's going on over on the other side. So let me do that level adjustment again. So a little bit more in the mid-tones, brighter. Push the brightness on here, and then when that happens, you can just bring down. Oops, just touch more of these. It just creates a little bit more contrast overall, and lifts up the mid-tones a little bit. And then I think that will feel a little bit more stylistically like this. But it's really pretty. It's looking good. So keep going there. All right, Jordan, we are now outside the window. Yeah, this is cool. I think, watch out for this little bit of speck on her neck. There's like a little dot down there too, like nitpicky stuff. The shaping on her looks really good. I think her skin might be a little saturated. Just pulling that back. Just a little bit might help. And then I wonder if we can't play up the color a little more from the outside. It feels a little neutral. I'm wondering if maybe we can't, and if that's your style, that's cool. I don't want to adjust it too much, but I'm just wondering if outside the window, maybe just a little more like blue magenta, you feel. Out there a little bit. That's pretty ghetto, but you get the idea of maybe adding a little bit more cool values out there. All right. I thought we had more for. Wait. Hold on, give me just 1 second. I think we have more for Raghavendra. I could be wrong. There was a lot today. For some reason, I thought we had reference from you as well. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Put this in here. Just throw this in the corner. Okay. Just want to make sure. I think that was it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So this is, it's looking better. One of the areas, so we've turned off this light. We've got the light shining in through the window. The window light would still, you would still feel a little bit of that like light bleed around the corner a little bit. Like look at the vertical lines of the window blind. Like those are much brighter with light kind of wrapping around there. For the characters, like you can see Dustin's hat gets that rim. You can see the rim there. There's like a little bit of green around her eye, and I'm not quite sure where that's coming from. And then down here, there'd be a little bit of rim. And then there's more value in this now, but it's a little bit too uniform, and it would be a little bit more darkening, right? Like look at her legs down here versus this backpack. Ooh, that's not what I wanted at all. And I think that like you can get some more darkening. So I think what we had the last time was that it was too dark in the fills. We've lifted them up. And now we're just losing some shaping because it's just gotten like brighter without getting variation in there. So there needs to be a little bit more variation there. Look at what's happening over here on this wall. Like from this window kind of creeping in over here a little bit. Like I think you can throw that in. We've got this box hitting there. But like look at the value on the bed frame right here versus right here. A little bit more bounce in there. Let's try and match that. And then yeah, I think the light coming in from the outside might be a little warmer too. And then yeah, watch out because like I said, on her face there's a little bit of green light there. Her eyes feel a little bit green. And yeah, and then the robot here, his fill feels a little bit lifted as well. So now it's about getting more shaping in the fill values. I think that's your main focus for the next iteration.
Actually, I'm just wondering, what's the line between the two characters? There's like a bright line between the two.
Between
the
two
two like
characters?
Yeah, just in front of the robot,
like this?
Robot's eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like, it feels like there's, this is a funny one. So there's like a bookcase or something there.
Okay.
And it's a bright line, but the problem is it continues into his design too. There's like there's a continuation of line. That's some 2D design term that you want to avoid. So you want to avoid that. So yeah, maybe taking down this white area would be good. That's a good call, Tristan. Welcome back, Rick. It's been a little while. Rick was without computer there for a little while. We're doing the swimming pool scene. I think this is looking. This is a good start. We're feeling that the light coming in from the outside. The pool shader is going to be the biggest one in this because it like right now it doesn't feel like water. It feels very dense, almost like a jello. And so it's all about with water. It's all about the Fresnel effect, which is basically like when you're looking at water straight on, you can see right through it, especially clear water like a pool. When you're looking at it at an angle, you pick up a lot more refraction. But at this angle, we're pretty much looking down through it, so there would be some refraction. But the bigger thing is that you would still see through it. Indoor pools like this, there are those lines at the bottom to mark lanes so people can swim. There's like tile. You would just see more in there. So I would take a look at, like you can see the lines here. You can see like some of the stuff in there. You would start to see a little bit more inside of there. I think that's your A1 thing. The amount of blurriness outside the window is a little strange. It makes it, I'm not quite, it just gives it a unique feel. I think it's fine for like an HDRI, but for the render, I would turn that off and then try and put something else outside the window in the comp. Something more like in focus, like trees or other buildings or something out there. It doesn't really much matter. Also like this dark area around the pool you know, you wouldn't really get that. It would be more about like, you know, like you can really kind of, the light really refracts off the pool and fills that stuff in a little bit. And then for the balloons, man, you're just picking all the hard things. Water and balloons. Balloons are all about their hero color, right? Balloons are red, they're orange, they're green. And then they have a little bit of this kind of translucency, and you can kind of pick up a little bit of their surroundings. But every single one of them, you know exactly what the color is. And so you really want to get that. Like where these are a little bit, I guess those are more beach balls, but you really, really want to pick up their hero colors. So I think it's a good place to start. This is not an easy asset to work with. So I think you're doing well. I think when I lit this, I cheated and I took the water out and made it like an old pool and just put a bunch of graffiti in there. So, just because I was like, ooh, that water seems like it would be tough. Okay. Stephanie. So we've got this, Ryan Gosling. I think this is from Drive. Good setup. This is a good challenge here. So the biggest thing about this one, that the things that make this shot really cool are the colors, the warm and cool play. I love the specularity on the skin. Like, look at that specular highlight in the middle. You've got the shaping coming across here. It's more of like that classic Rembrandt light. You've got that going on, but it's all happening in the diffuse. I think really you should start working on the specularity and breaking it up, because you can even see like the pores and wrinkles in his skin. And I know we don't like to think about Ryan Gosling having pores or wrinkles, but he's a person too, I think. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know why. There's a lot of Ryan Gosling that comes up in here, and I like fawn over him every time. Okay, so I think about like getting that specularity in there. And then the other thing too is, and these are starting to get subtle, this warm light feels a little bit more yellow than this one. This is more like a reddish, and I think that this complements skin tones a little bit better. And same thing with the blues. The blues are more of like a cyany. With this one, it's starting to kind of gray out his skin, and that's because it's not fully like, this is like hitting it pretty hard with the diffuse, and then that flushes out his skin tone and makes it more gray, like cool light on warmth. But what you can do is, instead of hitting it with the diffuse, you hit it with the specularity, and it's not, it doesn't quite have that same feeling. And then in terms of, you want to watch out for this, and this is more about it being like a subsurface shader and a little bit about the softness of the light itself. But do you see how this bright patch is very much like a rectangle? And then this one, it's like, it's bright on the edge, but there's more variation in shaping as it comes across there. So try and get that a little bit more too. So more specularity on the skin. Try and match the colors a little bit more, and watch out for those very hard shapes. And then even like, let's see. Yeah, and then like things like this line of the shadow here versus the way that it rolls off. So it's just a matter of softening up the transition points. And that kind of goes in with that hard shadow too. Okay, last but not least, we have T. So this is looking really nice. We're nice and centered in on the middle here. I do think, the specularity on the girl is a little high. I think she can actually get a little bit brighter. I'm wondering if we shouldn't be seeing a little bit more of the light being thrown into the room from this one. And it would be great to get a little bit more variation into the light itself. It's just because it's so big, and it just starts to feel a little bit flat. And it would be more about, like, think about it like a headlight for a car or something. You see, you would see like more stuff going on in there. I know that's kind of a vague term, but like when you're kind of close to it, you see like the shapes that are in there. You see the light bulbs. You see some of the stuff that's going on. This one not so much, but like some of these other ones, I think that will really help. If there's just like a little bit more detail in there. The reflection value feels pretty good. What do you guys think on this one? I heard someone just chime in.
I think the shadow right underneath the robot is really dark and strong.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Like this. Yeah.
And
sharp.
Is that shadow caused from the eyes of the robot? Because I think that would also be a different angle.
Yeah, I think it might be. Yeah. Also, it would.
Yeah, it might be the shadow from the book.
Yeah, it's got to be. Well, it's got to be. It's not from the light being cast from the. It's not the light from, the robot. It's got to be the light from outside the window, because like this isn't light from the robot here. That's all outside light.
Yeah, but you look. There's the pillow on the bottom right, and that has a different angle, and that one makes more sense.
Yeah.
Then it seems like there's one right on top of the book, and that's what's hitting everything.
Yeah. And then one thing about her glasses is that we're kind of seeing them at this glancing angle, and they get a little bit foggy right there. I would just make them a little more transparent.
And one thing that I was looking at it now is that the stars go all the way to the bottom of the window.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes me think like they're in space. Which could be cool.
Could be cool.
You know. Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're totally right. Like putting in like a silhouette of like a tree line or something out there would be nice. That's smart. All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap it up there for today. I think did I miss anybody?
Mike?
Yes.
My black and whites.
Oh, where'd those go?
Yeah, shot.
Sorry.
The stills. No worries. No worries. I know there was a lot today.
Did I not say those out? Where'd those go?
I don't.
Oh, yeah, there.
I don't know. I didn't see you click.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just opening it real quick.
No worries.
Okay. This looks great. Yeah, I think these are looking good. It's just like there's just some small shapes in here, in this glass bottle, like these specular highlights. I would just,
Mm-hmm.
you know what, and
Tweak the specularity on it to.
it's even it's like if it's is that camera is that I don't think the camera's animated on that one, right? If it's not,
No, the camera's not. I mean, it cuts, but
yeah,
it doesn't move. Yeah.
yeah. For that kind of stuff, you can let's see. Like you can just paint it. Like I would just kind of like just.
Mm-hmm.
I would just paint that stuff out a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just tone those down in the comp a little bit. You know what I mean?
I wonder why it looks less.
You can just.
It looks less liquidy than it did before for some reason.
I
Okay.
think it's okay.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Just like because like
Okay.
it's fine if there are a couple of these in there, but like having so many small shapes like these refractions look really cool, but it's like all these little guys.
Mm-hmm.
And really it's just about creating lots of contrasty spots.
Right.
That would, yeah.
So.
And then like that feels a lot better because you're just paying attention
Okay.
to less, and it's all about the performance.
Right.
But yeah, that's. I mean, I think these shots, and it's funny because I think these shots are looking good.
Okay. So the ceiling looks better. Because I know you were talking about. I put a little bit more light on the ceiling, and then I fixed the money roll too.
Yeah, yeah. The money looks a lot better. I think the only thing I'm wondering maybe like because this came up is just like just this very corner, like maybe a little bit more dark in there. Like allow this to say where it is. It might just be like ambient occlusion on the set. And again, with a lock off, if you have the character rendered separately, you could just even draw a roto back there and just darken that a little, just darken that corner a little bit.
Okay.
Sound good?
Kubin.
All right, guys.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you all so much. Be on the lookout. Jasmine's. I'm not gonna give it away. Jasmine started a new job today, and I keep bugging her about announcing it because it's a really cool job and it's really exciting. And she's just being shy, I think. I don't know. She's being funny about it, but I told she's gonna announce it today, and if she doesn't, then I will tell you guys about it later on. But
awesome.
Yeah, but take a look. I don't know if she already. She was gonna send out an email or post it or LinkedIn, and I told her to do all of the above, but we'll see.
It's on LinkedIn. I just saw it.
Okay, she made it announced. So I'll just tell you guys, and she'll post it too. But for those that are here, Jasmine is taking on a role as a CG lead at Frame Store here in New York, which is a very
nice.
cool effects job, effects company. They make a lot of really cool products. So she'll not only be in charge of the lighters, but like kind of the whole project. So very, very, very excited for her. It's a great opportunity. She's an incredible leader, and she's going to do a great job. So
very cool.
Yeah. Yay. So, so good for her. All right, cool. But be on the lookout and make sure to say nice things when she sends it out because she's being shy about it for some reason. So, all right. I'll talk to you guys all very soon. All right.
Thank you,
everybody.
Thanks. See ya.